again with our seedlings that we started off in January. Now most of them have come out, but it's all quite slow, mainly because of the cold. So I'm going to show you what you can do as an alternative to this, and that is starting your seedlings inside. So my first seedlings of the year are coming along, but quite slowly, because they were started outside in the polytunnel and the weather went really cold. So a nice alternative to that is to start your seedlings inside in these trays. So it's relatively clean, as you can see. It's quite practical if you have some extra space, and I put mine next to a radiator and near to a window so that I get enough light and enough heat. So this is really practical and a really quick way of doing it. And it's also quite essential for certain like types of veg. If you want to have early tomatoes, peppers and aubergines, you pretty much have to start them off in February inside. Especially aubergines, you know, have to have that extra heat, and the seeds really need that extra heat to germinate. So I'd really recommend, if you want a successful early crop of tomatoes, peppers and aubergines, you know, start them off end of February, maybe beginning of March inside, and keep them inside until May when you want to plant them out. By the way, a very common mistake is to water your seedling trays too much, especially when they haven't germinated. There's really no need to water them that much. I really just, you know, spray them once or maybe twice a day, and you know, that really keeps them happy until they've germinated, until they grow more. And it's a really, you know, quick and efficient way of doing it. And seedling trays in general like this are a really quick and efficient way of producing lots of plants, which gives you more time in the garden to do other jobs. So at this time of the year, it's a really great idea to prepare your soil for the coming season. And that's what I'm doing right here in my greenhouse. I'm putting down some well-rotted manure and I'm digging it into the ground, just like so. It's not that much work really. You just have to cover your soil with a layering of manure, and then you just take a spade, or you could also use a pitchfork, whatever, and then you just try to dig it in for a few minutes, and then after that I will cover it with some nice good compost, and then it's ready for planting. Like many people, I really love strawberries, and there's nothing better than, you know, homegrown strawberries, and they're really not difficult to grow. So I've got a nice raised bed here with good soil, with some manure, some compost, and I've planted 2 rows of strawberry plants. Now I got these strawberry plants during the winter. I'm going to plant them now in February, and then hopefully this year I'll have a crop. It will probably not be very much, but during the coming years it will be a very substantial crop of amazing strawberries. Another great way of growing your strawberries is in hanging baskets. They don't take up a lot of space, and you don't really need that much soil for a great result. They get a lot of heat in it, and if you use good soil, you know, they should get enough nutrients. You just have to make sure that if it's, you know, a dry period, to give them enough water, else they will dry out. And it's especially good for varieties like this alpine strawberry called Alexandria. So it's a really nice variety, producing small but very tasty strawberries, almost like wild strawberries. They're really amazing. But you can also use other varieties, and I've got quite a few varieties here. I've got Royal Sovereign, which is an older variety. I've got newer ones like Calypso and Honeyoe. So all in all, you should try to get a few different varieties to get, you know, a long season of strawberry harvests, you know, from late May up to August or September even, so that you have strawberries for the whole summer. Because we live in Northern Ireland, where the weather is not very dependable and can often rain a lot, it's a good idea to protect your strawberry plants in some way to give them extra cover. You could grow them in a polytunnel or a greenhouse, which is ideal, but you know, if you don't have the space or you want something else, you can make something like this, a makeshift, you know, greenhouse using, you know, old materials, so just spare wood, you know, and this is just a bit of old plastic from a polytunnel. So it's reusing old materials which are free. It's very cheap and very easy to make. If you have a saw and a hammer, you know, it's really easy. You can just make it yourself. And it should provide that extra bit of heat and cover that my strawberry plants really need to produce a dependable strawberry crop every year. great companion plant for strawberries is garlic, or the whole allium family in general. You could also use, onions or shallots, so they all repel pests like aphids. And apparently they also make strawberries taste stronger, but not in a garlicky way or anything, but just a stronger flavor. It's just a really good example of companion planting. And if you have 2 rows like I have here, you can just grow them in between the rows. Very easy. Just stick them into the ground, put the soil over, and then you just wait. And then in the summer, you should have some really nice garlic bulbs. Now this here is elephant garlic, and it's absolutely humongous. This here is 1 clove of elephant garlic, so you can imagine how big the plant will be. It can grow up to 1.5 meters tall and gets really thick, and it's a lovely tasting, type of garlic, really amazing. But because it's already quite late in the season, because normally you would plant this type of garlic in autumn, I'm going to plant it indoors, so in my greenhouse, so we'll get the best of all the heat and grow quickly, and hopefully I'll have a lovely crop of elephant garlic in the summer. So always plant this way up. Obviously this garlic will sprout up here and grow up, so it's not very difficult at all. You just press it into the ground, and then you cover it with soil, and then you just wait. We're in the walled garden in Helens Bay, and it's an absolutely beautiful place and a great sunny day. Well, there's not that much growing at the moment. There's only still leafy bits, just like in January. But there are some unexpected crops, and there's one very, very unexpected crop here that is normally considered more of an exotic or tropical fruit. But it's actually kiwis. Now you can see the kiwis all around me. They're really, really cool, beautiful little fruits hanging off, and it's just a really nice feeling to pick one. They're not all that ripe. They're quite hard actually when you touch them. That's because normally in the UK they should be grown undercover, so in a polytunnel or a greenhouse. That was the purpose here, but obviously they grew through the greenhouse and broke a lot of the glass. But even when they're not ripe and they're still hard, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with them in the kitchen. So I'll take some of them home and show you what you can do with them. So what can you do with hard, underripe kiwis? Well, you could just leave them indoors, and then, after 1 or 2 weeks, they would ripen. But I find they never, taste as sweet as the ones you get in the shops. So you have to add sweetness somehow. And a recipe that I really like making with kiwis, with underripe kiwis, is a Kiwi Compote. So what do you need for your Kiwi Compote? Really easy. Obviously kiwis, and I've prepped most of them already. You really just have to peel them with a knife like you would an apple. It's really simple, not difficult at all, and then you just quarter them. And then all you need is sugar, really. And I'm using about 100 grams of sugar for 800 grams of diced kiwis. And what I also like to add to a Kiwi Compote, and to desserts in general actually, is like a secret flavor, something that people will be surprised at when they taste it. And that just really, improves the whole flavor of the dessert. So what I've got here is star anise, and I really love star anise. It has a really great sort of sweet licorice flavor, but not as strong as licorice. It's really quite natural tasting. And this with the Kiwi Compote is fantastic. So I'm going to add about 3 pieces to the compote, and then we'll make a really nice addition to the flavor. So I'm adding a drop of water to the compote, but not that much, because there's enough liquid in here already. But you just want it, to cook evenly and not to burn. And this is a non-stick pan, so that also helps. A good tip, Kiwi Compote, and often jams also, is to first cook the fruit for a few minutes and then add the sugar, because the sugar can make fruit, and especially soft fruit like berries, a bit hard whenever you add it at the start. So first cooking the fruit and then adding the sugar makes it a lot softer and a lot nicer. I'm just going to check the compote for sweetness. I'm just taking a spoon. I'm trying some of the juices. It's perfect. It has an amazing tangy flavour. It's so good. And now I'm just going to leave it rest for a bit. And then after that, actually, I'm going to mash it a bit, because there's still quite a few hard bits in there. But I don't want to cook it that long that they will become soft, because you want that fresh, tangy flavour, and that actually disappears, you know, if you cook it for too long. So really only cook it for 5 to 10 minutes, and that's it. Now we're going to mash our compote, and we're first going to take the star anise out. It's done its job well. Now you just take a potato masher and go crazy a bit. I tend to not mash too much, because I quite like to have some bits there. There, that should do the job. There we go, our Kiwi Compote. So here it is, our Kiwi Compote, and I'm just serving it with some yard. I'm going to have a bite. It's really nice and tangy and aromatic with star anise. And just sweet enough. This is a really nice dish you can make with underripe kiwis. And you could, you know, use it for scones or pancakes. You could put it into a pie, you know, whatever. It really lends itself to a lot of different variations. So I do urge you to try this in case you ever have some underripe kiwis lying about. Bon appetit!